it's really important for you to be aware of how people joke around with you, the things they say to you, and it's really about you. We at a time now where people are not afraid to express how they feel about you, but it's really how they really feel about you. You know what I mean? And one of the things is joking around. It's not easy, to detect it because sometimes we'll take joking and there's personal jokes. We'll take that for a grain of salt. I used to work with somebody and it got into the point where this person know who I was and knows that hey, how I am, how I move. And it's gotten to the point where this person can openly joke around about my race, like where I came from, my background. And at the time, I never really tried to like take it personal because I'm thinking like, okay, hey, he's just joking. But think about it, we're at work. And if we're working, why is it that everything that revolves in joking around where I come from and how I speak and the way I present myself, why is it? Right? And you have to be very, very careful. But before I get into the video, let me introduce myself. This is Gene, your best friend, your new best friend. And I invite you guys to please like, share, and subscribe. Yes, family, be careful. Watch out the things what people say. And when it's really personal or it's something that it may not be as important to you, right? It may not be nothing to you, but at the same time, you have to question yourself. Why is it that you're joking around something so personal like that? Why is it that you're joking and it feels like that you're insulting me? You know what I mean? And you're laughing about it. One, I must say, is this. When they're joking with you, ask yourself this question. And it's like, yo, there's other things we can joke around about. There's other things that we can say. But when things, let's say if we get into a disagreement, and I've seen this on many occasions where with some people, they'll joke about something and they'll bring up something so personal. And then when you get serious and there's an argument comes around and it'll get to the point where the same thing that you're joking about, they're using that as insult and try to belittle you. Yes, I get it. It's not serious. It's to you. It may not be something that we could take things personal and take it as a joke, but it's something about when somebody just says something to you that can just easily strike a nerve, right? And a lot of times, that's just going to open up the door for somebody else to do the same thing to you. You got to be very, very careful because I've gotten to the point. Let me use myself as an example where I don't joke with people all the time no more. It don't even matter if it's his family. It don't even matter if it's that coworker. 9 times out of 10, even that coworker, I don't even joke around with a coworker. Excuse me. We may joke. I may be on a job where we can be talking about something else, but when it gets to the point where it's getting personal, and I'm even that too, talking about your personal business, talking about certain things that you got going on, and you may be feeling very vulnerable, and you feel like that, hey, I need to express this to someone, I need to get this off my chest, and I'm still letting you know that you must keep that to yourself. Because realistically, when you do get personal and you say certain things to some people and you bring up certain things, most people that they're listening to you not because they want to be there for you. They're listening because they want to be in your business and they could talk your business to someone else. They want to tell your business what you got. And the world that we're living in now, it's like to the point where people will say some things, and it's just to make them. They're around you just to hear your business, just so they can feel good about themselves. And I'd say this: if you want to get something off your chest and you feel some type of way, yo, keep that between you and God. I'm gonna use this as an example. I used to have somebody I used to hit up all the time. I used to always vent to. We were like brothers. We were chopping it up. But I realized that when this person, especially the second time where because the first time we would really like, chop it up, you know what I mean? Then whether that friendship didn't end so well, and then we end up being friends again. And I noticed that this same person that you know what I mean, end up being worse than they are. I actually really knew who they were after the second time I realized we got cool again. And it'll just open up the door for them to just know my business and then just tell my business out there, put it out there. And even though when we started joking and doing this, and even in odd times when we would not be joking, they'll just bring up my certain situation and just talk about it. You know what I mean? So it's like these insults, these things that a lot of these times when they joking with you and they saying certain things, it's really just insults. And to wrap it up and tell you about, what I do to overcome, like, if I need somebody to vent to, I just pray about it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I just pray about it. Or I got my cousin. We don't talk every day, but that's the only person I know at the moment I can only speak to. But I don't know if it's me. I just gaining, got experience and I learned from my past. But you really don't need nobody to really. You don't really need nobody but God. You really don't. I can't remember. I can't even really remember who the last person who I really vent to, and I know that it's really, you have to be very careful because sometimes you need somebody to talk to. But actually, I'm really thinking about, like, I'm really doing good for myself, and that right there is emotional intelligence. You know what I mean? I believe. But like I said, you got to be very careful. You don't need nobody to just always have around. Being your own best friend, and also too, there's people that you can actually talk to, but you just gotta know the right people. But like I said, be careful who you have around or who you tell your business to, who you joke around. Most people are just not genuine. Most people are just, instead of them standing up to you and tell you how they feel about you, they'll rather joke with you and get a little personal. And that's another thing too. When they know, like, for example, like, okay, you know what, this will make you laugh, this will make you laugh, and then, for example, they'll bring up like, it's just like this time when you fell off the bike. You know what I mean? An example, when you fell off that bike, it could be a time that was very traumatizing to you. It was very embarrassing. But it's like, why would you, bring that up? Especially around people. And that's the other thing too. When people joke around with you and say insulting things, they do that around people showing off. I know that we all are adults right now, right? We're adults, right? But most people don't think like that because they're only out to destroy you, belittle you, and then when they do things like that, they do it because they feel good about themselves. You know what I mean? And when they insult people and bring you down, and it's to make them feel good about themselves. All right, but if this video resonated with you, I invite you guys to please like, share, and subscribe to your best friend, your new best friend. And like I said, be careful, because there's a big difference between joking and then someone that's insulting you joking. All right, so people don't have to get too personal with you. You know what I mean? When they or bringing up anything about you. But like me personally, I do joke around. I'm very humorous, but at the same time, there's limits to it. All right. So again, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. All right. Peace.